Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. This is Bathrobe Business. I got my coffee. I'm George Yoganov. Let's jump into the news. There was no post yesterday. I just didn't have the time for it, but let's jump into it today. And there's some interesting things happening with my favorite subject, gold. The Dow is just down slightly. It's currently at 36,000 points, S&P at 45, NASDAQ is at 15. And gold is the interesting story of the day. So people are finally talking about gold, and it's kind of getting crazy. Gold hit an all-time high. So gold hit 2110.80 yesterday. At one point, it touched it. It is now back down to 2045, but this is a rally that's kind of unseen as of before. 2110 is a world record. It has never actually been that high, and so it hitting at that high is definitely something to worry about. It's something that, again, we've talked about before. There's a lot of different factors that can make gold skyrocket, but I treat it as just a thermometer on the temperature of the economy. High gold number is like running a high temperature. It means something is going wrong in the economy. A low gold number is a good temperature. So that's why I am a little concerned. I think the economy is fairly positive overall, but that gold number and the fact that it keeps rallying and setting new baselines is a little bit concerning. So definitely keep your eye on gold. I am kind of letting it affect my day-to-day activity as far as spending because I am a little concerned by that number. The next story is cuts. So Spotify to cut 17% of its workforce, or roughly 1,500 jobs. It is not the only company that is cutting. Also, Twilio is cutting about 5% of their workforce. And this is pretty big considering that a lot of these companies had already cut a large part of their workforce last year. Which echoed a lot of cuts in the greater market in general. But now Spotify is cutting another 17%. They said that they overhired in 2020 and 2021, and that this is just a correction. It is 2 years later, so it's kind of funny that it took 2 years to correct, but that is pretty big news for the economy. Another big story is Americans have accumulated a record-breaking $1 trillion in credit card debt. This is most concerning considering how high interest rates are. So as interest rates continue to rise, the average credit card is between 22 and 29% right now. And so the $1 trillion in credit card debt is going to be growing exponentially, especially into the holiday months. Alaska Airlines and Hawaiian Airlines are actually merging, or attempting to merge, into a $1.9 trillion deal. So Alaska is planning to buy Hawaiian Airlines at about a $1.9 billion valuation. This is going to be interesting if it actually happens because the Biden administration is actually pretty aggressive with blocking mergers. And so if this is going to go through is a big question. There are a lot of large companies right now being sued in their attempts to merge and that they are being blocked. So this may not actually go through at all. Next story is kind of a biggie. So Moody's has cut China's credit outlook to negative on rising debt. So China's debt crisis and their housing crisis is just continuing. This is not a new story. This is something that's been unfolding over the last year and a half, but now it is just continuing at an exponential pace. The downgrade is pretty substantial, and the central government said that they're going to be implementing stimulus, which also isn't great because their growth is slowing, so this is going to be inflationary. And granted, China loves their inflation just simply because of exporting, but that's in a traditional Chinese economy. This is not the China of old. If you're in a service economy, as we know, just pumping money into a system does not benefit the greater economy. In fact, it reduces your purchasing power. So when China was just trying to focus on manufacturing and exports, this worked quite well. But now that they're in a modern economy, just simply pumping money and stimulus into the system can often have a more negative impact. Currently, they're only outlooking for about a 4% growth in 2024. That seems pretty good to us here in the United States, but for China, that's abysmal. Usually, they're looking at about 6% growth. Ever since they reopened post-COVID, they have not been able to get the numbers that they wanted, and it's actually shocked the greater global economy because everybody just expected a massive rally when they reopened after COVID, but that did not come. Furthermore, their demographics are a bigger and bigger subject in the news. I do think that's a bit overinflated. A large populace doesn't necessarily equate to a large economy. You could have a very large economy and a very small populace, and a very large populace and a very poor economy. So I don't think that's a one-to-one relation, especially in the face of automation and AI. But it is still a factor when you were expecting a certain population in order to produce manual labor, which is still a large majority of their economy, and then all of a sudden that isn't there. So it is still a factor. I just think it is being a little bit overinflated in the market. That's pretty much all the stories of the day. I'm keeping it short and sweet today. Not a lot to talk about. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you guys back here tomorrow, and take care.